Hello, my name is Ashlyn Limkins, and I'm going to be doing my STAR method prompt. So my situation is, during my current student teaching placement at McBrayer Elementary in Rowan County in my 5th and final year at Morehead State University. So this situation just happened today as I taught my lesson. So I'm so glad I get to write about it, and it just all kind of fell into place. And I taught my very first lesson plan over subtraction. My lesson was titled Subtraction Bowling. I broke the class up into 4 different center groups with 4 different activities for each of them. Each group had 4 students in it besides one group that had 5 students in it. It was my goal and duty to make sure I had different strategies for the students to learn subtraction, all while still having fun learning while doing so. I had an independent practice worksheet center, a technology center that was used for subtraction bowling on Starfall, an actual set of plastic bowling pins with bowling balls for a center, and a dry erase / laminate bowling sheets with bowling ball card center. So my task was, for what I put my overall goal was to create a fun but educational plan that would promote student growth in the classroom and in everyday life. Before my lesson, I gave a pre-assessment to each student, only telling them to make sure their name is on the top of the paper and reading the set of directions listed on the top of the sheet. I gave the pre-assessment to assess what prior knowledge they may have had on subtraction before. 50% of the class didn't know what subtraction was or how to do it the correct way. I had a lot of students still trying to find the answer. The problems were all similar, just with different subtracting numbers. This told me that I needed to back all the way up and start from the very beginning of the basics of subtraction. I really had to emphasize that subtraction meant the process or skill of taking one number or a given amount away from another. Most of the students have heard of subtraction, and some had even completed a few problems, but for much of the class, this was a new topic for them. There is one student who has already mastered the skill right off the bat, but he is on a higher level than the rest of the class in most of his areas, so I had to make this a little challenging for him as well. I consulted with my cooperating teacher about how to exactly do the 4 activities and how to properly teach these different strategies, as well as making it a fun learning experience for all students. So for my action, I used several different strategies for this lesson. I had an independent work center, a technology center, a hands-on center, and a writing / comprehension center all about subtraction bowling. Yesterday evening, I wrote down all of the essential questions and the most important content that I felt like I needed to be taught. I wanted to make sure that they were all learning at each station they went to, and that they could comprehend the questions and know how to solve the subtraction problem by the end of each station with the tools I had given them. The independent workstation focused on filling in the equation of the subtraction problem. The Technology Center focused on using your knowledge and your hand movements to move the mouse on the correct answer. The Hands-On Bowling Center focused on getting the students actively engaged in the activity while learning how many pins were knocked down and how many pins they had left. The Dry Erase / Bowling Card Center focused on reading and comprehension, and if they could retain the content they had been taught onto the activity they were doing. The teaching strategy that I feel I mainly focused on was modeling, because I made sure to model each of the center groups and how to do it the correct way. I made sure to communicate well with the students by explaining the instructions, helping with questions and/or problems, and giving verbal praise where it was needed. For the result, I said the post-assessment score showed that there was an 88% success score on the post-assessment, which met beyond my expectations as well as my cooperating teachers. My overall goal was to create a fun but educational lesson plan that would promote student growth in the classroom and in everyday life, and I believe that I exceeded my goal. The students had so much fun at each center group, and by the end of the lesson, they were able to successfully complete the basic subtraction problems. During this lesson, I was very professional while teaching, organized with my materials, engaged with the students properly, and was prepared and ready for the lesson. Thank you.